This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, it is Thursday, June 7th, and it's time to just go home. Okay, that's it. Go home. Series is over. Okay, it's done. The Cavs, I think, are going to get swept, but nonetheless, it's over. All right, it's time for the offseason. Time to get ready for all the free agency news. Time to get ready for the draft. And time to wait for next season to come. Because the Cavs probably played one of their best games of the postseason, I would say, and probably their best game of the finals as far as being a collective team. And you had Steph and Clay who played about as poorly as you could, and it still didn't matter. All right, Cavs still almost lost by double digits. Which is why I say, go home, go enjoy your summers, okay? Go watch your favorite baseball team. World Cup's coming up, get ready for that, but the series is done, okay? That's all she wrote, she's done. So we're going to be talking about that for the first segment. Second segment, we got Terrell Owens back in the news, declining his invitation to his enshrinement ceremony over there in Canton. I'll give my thoughts on that. It seems that Terrell Owens is a bit misunderstood, and I think he misunderstands himself at times, so I'll be talking about all that. Third segment, we got Bryan Colangelo, who has resigned as the Sixers GM. We will be talking about that. And then for the fourth segment, you got Julian Edelman, who's going to be suspended for the first 4 games of the season. I'll give my thoughts on that, along with talking about anything else going on in the world of sports. All right. So, let's get into the game right here, and then I will give my thoughts on it. So, we had Golden State Game 3 in Cleveland, winning 110-102. For the Warriors, you had Draymond Green, who had 10 points, 2 steals, 9 assists, only 2 rebounds, shot 4 of 8. Kevin Durant had 43 points, 7 assists, 13 rebounds, shot 15 of 23, 6 of 9 from the three-point line. Obviously, a great game there. JaVale McGee got the start in this one, played 14 minutes, had 10 points, only 3 rebounds. Also had 2 blocks, though. He shot 5 of 7. And then you had Steph Curry, who played 39 minutes. All right, Steph was on his way, was looking like to winning his first Finals MVP. Now, I'm not sure. All right, he finished the game with 11 points. Let's see, 1 steal, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 16, 1 of 10 from the three-point line. Obviously about as bad as a game as you could have, but when you got Kevin Durant dropping 43, it must be nice. Klay Thompson played 41 minutes. He only had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 4 of 11, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had Andre Iguodala, who came back, played 22 minutes, 3 of 4 shooting from the field, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, also a steal. Was a plus 14 out there, which was the second highest on the team. All right, we had Jordan Bell, who played 12 minutes, had 10 points, 6 rebounds there, shot 4 of 5. Sean Livingston played 17 minutes. He had 8 points, 2 assists, shot 4 of 5 there. And then you only had Nick Young, who played 5 minutes in that game. For the Cavs, okay, you had LeBron James, 33 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 11 assists, 10 rebounds. All right, shot 13 of 28, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Kevin Love had 20 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists and a steal. Shot 6 of 13, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Tristan Thompson had 8 points, 7 rebounds, not necessarily great there. George Hill had 5 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, shot 2 of 6. Then you had J.R. Smith, who had 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, shot 5 of 14, 3 of 10 from the three-point line. If you're J.R. Smith, you'd hope that you shoot the ball a little bit better, but nonetheless, that was some production off the bench. Believe it or not, wow, look what happens when you play Rodney Hood. All right, he played 26 minutes. He had 15 points, 6 rebounds, shot 7 of 11. What a concept that was, okay? What a concept to play Rodney Hood. Larry Nance had 5 points, 3 rebounds, shot 2 of 4. You had Jeff Green, who played 18 minutes. He had 3 points, shot 1 of 4. Kyle Korver played 11 minutes in this one. Goose egg, 0 points, 0 of 4 from the field there. Kyle Korver's terrible finals run continues. No Jordan Clarkson in this one, which perfectly fine with. I mean, you got Rodney Hood, who probably played about as good as Clarkson has, maybe all postseason long. All right, so the Cavs ended up shooting 43% from the field, 29% from 3. And then the Warriors shot 52% from the field, 34% from 3. Obviously, like I said, I mean, going into the game, I talked about how you were going to need a third person to come out and play well, just like LeBron and Kevin Love have. Okay? And it happened. You got Rodney Hood, who dropped in 15. J.R. Smith gave you 13. Okay? And Steph and Klay played about as poorly as they could, and it still didn't matter. Okay? Did not matter one bit whatsoever. I mean, I was watching the game. It was close throughout, and it's just the Cavs had no answer for Kevin Durant. That's all it was. Okay? Absolutely zero answer. Every time the Cavs tried getting back into it, which they did, I mean, as far as taking the lead, KD just came back and hit a shot like it was nothing. Okay? And he was doing that literally the entire night. Steph and Klay were nowhere to be found. And you never really get any true production from any of the other guys as far as a lot of points scored. Okay? Steph, Klay, and Draymond combined for 31 points. All right, 3 players combined for 31. KD dropped 43. And it's basically the same thing as last year. All right, Game 3 last year, KD hits the dagger. Literally hits the dagger in the same spot this year for Game 3. I mean, nothing's changed. Okay? And we were all hoping for a decent series. We're going to get a sweep, I think. All right? And I mean, there's really not much to say, honestly. Okay? I mean, does this affect LeBron's legacy? Maybe if they get swept. I don't think it should. All right. We're already at the point where we know who's winning the series, but who's going to get the finals MVP? Is it KD? Is it Steph? I've even seen some people throw out there, can LeBron James win the finals MVP even though he's on the losing team? Just to let you know, yeah, he's not going to win it, and he shouldn't win it. If you do not win your series, you do not deserve the MVP. Okay? Because, I mean, KD has basically been playing about as well as LeBron has this series, and the Warriors are going to win. All right. And, I mean, now just going forward, it's not like we can get excited maybe for a Game 6 or whatnot. I think the farthest this series goes is Game 5. All right. And now, it's pretty much, now we're just moving on to the point, where's LeBron going to end up? Okay? And I'm sure people in Cleveland probably think he's still staying, but it feels like LeBron's at the point where he doesn't even care anymore, meaning he doesn't care what other people think. All right? And obviously last time when LeBron left, Cleveland pretty much was up in a frenzy, burning his jersey and all. I don't think LeBron's ever going to think about that for when he makes his decision this summer. All right? I think if I'm LeBron, I got to go where obviously you have the best opportunity to win, but also where you don't have to put the team on your back constantly throughout the playoffs. Okay? And a team like that would be either Philly or Houston. I think those are the 2 best spots for him. All right, obviously we got Boston and Golden State who have been thrown into the mix. I don't see that happening at all. You had Draymond Green asked about it yesterday, and he pretty much said if LeBron's playing for this team, I'm probably not here. All right? And I doubt that Golden State would want to break up the core they got now. All right. Like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's exactly what Boston and Golden State need to stick to right there. They don't need a LeBron James. Of course, he'd be a luxury, and you'd love to have him, but you don't need him. Okay, you're fine the way you're going now. All right, but nonetheless, like I said, I mean, you're watching this game. It's like, oh, wow, Cavs are playing pretty good. Oh, wow, Warriors are playing pretty bad. Oh, wow, Warriors are still at 5. That was it the entire game. Okay? Like I said, I thought that this was the best game that the Cavs have played all postseason long, and definitely the best game they played so far in the finals. All right. You got Kevin Love doing his thing. LeBron obviously doing his. And then you got some other guys contributing in J.R. Smith and Rodney Hood. I mean, I think this is the most shared production that they've had all postseason long. Okay? I can't tell you the last time the Cavs had 4 guys in double digits this postseason. I'm sure it's happened, but not often. All right? And now it's just a point where are the Cavs going to lose the series at home on Friday, or are they going to lose in Oakland on Monday? Okay, that's really all it comes down to now. There's no, well, if the Cavs take 4 and 5, they're back. That's not happening. The Cavs aren't. Cavs take 4, it's over in 5. Cavs don't take 4, series is over. Okay? And it seems with reports coming out that the Warriors are really keen on sweeping the Cavs here. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. All right, I picked the Warriors to win in 5. It's just looking like, honestly, that game 1 pretty much took the wind out of this series. Okay? And we'll all get over it eventually, but if JR ends up going up with that or dishing it out to LeBron, it's a different story. But like I said, I do think that that game 1 situation pretty much just let out the air in the series for everyone. I mean, you got right before overtime starts, you got LeBron with his head in his hands, pretty much just like, are you serious? All right, and I think from then on, we knew what kind of series this was going to be. All right. And I'm curious, too. I mean, going forward, what's Cleveland going to look like next season? Still going to have Kevin Love there, or are you going to trade him away? I think it's all time for a full-on rebuild here. Kevin Love's done well so far, at least in this final series, to build up his value a bit, I feel. All right? Giving them 20 and 10 each night. I mean, what more could you ask for? Okay? Kevin Love, I think, is a better defender than people give him credit for, too. I think he's very underrated there. But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, watching the game, it's pretty much Cavs are playing well, Warriors are playing bad. Warriors still have the lead. It didn't matter. All right? And plus, no one could stop that KD guy. And I think he did take the lead as far as who's going to win that finals MVP between him and Steph. So we'll see what ends up happening. But nonetheless, that's all I got to say about that. We'll probably get into it more in the 4th segment. But nonetheless, next up, we're going to be talking about T.O. declining his Hall of Fame Enshrinement ceremony invitation. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We spent that first segment basically just recapping Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, of course, I mean, no surprise here, Warriors won. It's time to get this series done and over with, okay? I don't need to see a 5th game. No one else needs to see a 5th game. Just get it done in 4, please. Let us all move to the offseason so that way we see where LeBron's ending up and seeing if they're going to be able to rival the Warriors depending on whatever team he goes to. All right. That's what I'm looking forward to. I know, obviously, we got to prop up. We still got a Game 4. Series still isn't over, but in reality, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's over. Okay? I mean, this series has pretty much gone the way everyone thought it would. There's just be a lot of Warriors domination. LeBron pretty much playing as good as well as he can. in order for them to have a chance. But obviously, it's not happening. All right. And that's fine. I don't put this series on LeBron, nor should you, nor should anyone else. Okay? This is just one where the Warriors by far are the better team, and it doesn't matter what Cleveland does. I mean, when you got Steph and Clay combining for 21, and you still win by 8, obviously, there's a problem there. All right, for the opposition. All right, but nonetheless, we already talked about that. I don't want to get too much into it or whatever because, I mean, there's not much to talk about, honestly. Okay? This is just business as usual. This is like a regular season game right here. Doesn't matter. We all knew it was going to happen. All right? So we'll wrap it up there. Now we're going to be moving on to Terrell Owens, okay? And Terrell Owens, I mean, it's just T.O. That's it, okay? He's just T.O. Was in the media a lot over his career. Never really did anything truly wrong. It was just more so just the loudest guy in the locker room, I feel. And I think that's why he always had the camera on his face. And of course, when you get the loudest guy in the locker room, I mean, that's always going to give you a story to talk about. Okay? But nonetheless, like I said, I mean, we've gone from him yelling at Jeff Garcia, him yelling at Donovan McNabb. I'm not sure that him and Romo ever really got into it. I just seen him cry about Romo in the press conference, remember? And that was an all-timer right there, that TO press conference. But nonetheless, obviously, when he retired, I think the consensus is that he's a top 3 receiver. And anyone who thinks otherwise, I mean, you just don't like T.O. The stats are there for themselves, okay? I mean, there's no way you can think that T.O. is not a top 3 receiver, not even top 5. Top 5 is just a given. Top 3 is what he actually is. All right? But nonetheless, had to wait a few years to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Finally gets inducted this offseason. Well, elected to get inducted. And now he has decided that he will not be at the ceremony and has declined the invitation. Okay. And I don't know what's going on with Terrell Owens here. It seems like this is one of those things where T.O. is basically just sticking it to the Hall of Fame. Meaning, like I said, they did take way too long to induct him. And I think this is the point where T.O. is like, you know what? You guys took forever to induct me, or to at least vote me in. Now, this is my payback. Okay? And I was really looking forward to that Terrell Owens Hall of Fame speech. And sadly enough, we're not going to get it. And Terrell Owens probably has to be the most scrutinized, misunderstood player in the history of professional sports, I think. Okay, as far as just how much the media has followed him and just the weird decisions that he's made. Okay. And you got people like Chris Carter saying that Terrell Owens needs to be there. Ryan Leaf has even reached out and all. And honestly, I don't have a problem with T.O. not going to the Hall of Fame, mainly because it doesn't really affect me in any way. But it is a bad look, I will say that. Okay? It's definitely a bad look. This was probably T.O.'s chance to just have a normal situation for once. Okay? Just go through the process, get inducted, give your speech, and be done with it. But of course, since it's Terrell Owens, there's got to be little something extra to it. I think that's the problem with T.O. too. There's always been a little something extra added to it. Okay? And Terrell Owens, I mean, I feel he's had to have burned pretty much every bridge that he's had in the NFL, right? I mean, is there a team out there that still brings him back? I don't think so. I mean, it seems like him and the 49ers don't really have much of a relationship. Him and the Cowboys, I don't think really have one. Him and the Eagles don't. And then him and like the Bills obviously wasn't there for that long, or Cincy or whatnot. Okay? And it's just with T.O. It's just T.O. being T.O. here. Like kind of like with Manny Ramirez back when he was in Boston playing baseball. All right? It's just Manny being Manny. And this is just one of those things. Let me see. Actually, I think I can pull up the statement that Terrell Owens put out too. Okay. Let's see. I got the statement right here. Statement reads, again, it's from Terrell Owens. I am so grateful for all the support my family, friends, and certainly my fans have shown me throughout my entire career in the National Football League. When it was announced that I was going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the response received from my fans was overwhelming, and I am truly humbled. I am honored to be included among this group of fellow inducted individuals. While I am incredibly appreciative of this opportunity, I have made the decision to publicly decline my invitation to attend the induction ceremony in Canton. I have already shared this information with the Hall. After visiting Canton earlier this year, I came to the realization that I wish to celebrate what will be one of the most memorable days of my life elsewhere. At a later date, I will announce where and when I will celebrate my induction. I would also like to thank the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals for the time I was granted with each organization. I am thankful for the relationships forged and the lessons learned while part of each team. I wish to congratulate all past, current, and future inductees. It is quite an honor to be part of such an elite company. The honor is something that I will cherish forever. Okay. That's a statement. Obviously, the reason why he's not, at least in the statement, going to be at the induction ceremony is that he wants to do it somewhere else, a better place, it seems. Okay? And that makes no sense to me. Why wouldn't you want to be, to have the celebration in Canton where everyone else does? And this is one where it's kind of like, is T.O. sticking it to the man? Or is he just being an individual here and he just wants his own little party? Okay. And it could be either or. I mean, I would not put it past T.O. to just be, you know what? I'm Terrell Owens. I want my own celebration. I don't want to celebrate with these people all the way over here in Canton, Ohio. Okay. Or it could just be one where, like I said earlier, that's where you guys didn't vote me in when I should have been voted in. I'm not going to be there. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, T.O., I'm afraid T.O. is going to end up being like one of those NFL players who were truly great in all Hall of Fame careers and all that, but no one really just talks about them once they're out of the spotlight. Okay, because after this, after the induction and all that, what left is there to talk about Terrell Owens? Okay. There's no real importance about T.O. anymore. Okay, he's not in the league anymore. And I did see something briefly, I thought, that said he was trying to make a comeback or whatnot. Obviously, that's not possible, but, I mean, it's just T.O. being in the headlines. Okay? But, nonetheless, like I said, T.O. probably going to go down as one of the most misunderstood players in the history of the NFL. Probably one of the most scrutinized. All right, always had his face in the media. And, of course, T.O. gives us one more story to talk about. All right. And like I said, it's going to be a shame when years from now no one's ever talked about Terrell Owens again, because that's where it's going. All right. Terrell Owens is at the point where the only reason why he'd be in the news is if it was because of something bad. No one's going to write about feel-good Terrell Owens stories at all or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm curious to see what this little thing he's going to have planned for himself, if it's going to be open to the public, if there's going to be camera crews like ESPN and all that there. I mean, or if he's just going to throw a party. All right, I have no clue. I would like to see a speech by Terrell Owens. I mean, I just feel like that'd be one of the more funnier things to listen to. All right, his relationship with Jeff Garcia, him and McNabb, him crying at the press conference about Romo and all. I just like to hear about it. All right, but obviously it's looking like we probably won't be getting that. All right, and I'm curious, is he what team does he get inducted? What team is he going in as a part of? Would it be the 49ers? And I think it was going to be the 49ers. And I think that is the right team, given that was his first. But it's just a point where, I don't know. Like I said, he's burned a lot of bridges there. So as far as Terrell Owens' relationship with the NFL, I don't really think there's a relationship anymore, especially given the fact that he declined an invite to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I mean, they always bring the guys back and around and all that for appearances. Is T.O. going to be a guy that they bring around since he denied their invitation? I don't really think so. So we'll see what ends up happening. But like I said, just another big story for Terrell Owens to give us. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about Bryan Colangelo. He ended up resigning as the Sixers GM. Going to give my thoughts on that. Where do they go from here? Where does Colangelo go from here? And talk all about it. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We spent that first segment recapping what was Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers. No surprises there. Golden State's up 3-0, probably going to end up sweeping, but nonetheless, like I said, no surprises. All right, and I really hope that maybe we do get some different teams in the finals next year, at least some evenly matched teams. All right, something. I don't want to see anyone get swept again. Okay? Like I said, I had no rooting interest in this series whatsoever. I could care less whether Cleveland won or Golden State, but I just wanted a decent series. I guess that was too much to ask for, huh? I guess so. Thanks a lot, NBA. Just kidding. NBA gives us a lot to talk about, so can't be too bad. All right. Second segment, we talked about Terrell Owens turning down his enshrinement ceremony invite. Terrell Owens is... like I said, he's just Terrell Owens, okay? This is T.O. being T.O. I mean, there's no way that after him getting elected that we could have had a smooth process to where it ends with him giving a speech in Cannes and we'll all be best friends, right? Nope, of course it can never be that easy. T.O.'s got to go. He's got to make it a little bit extra, all right? And I can't get mad at it. I mean, of course, it was a disservice by the Hall of Fame to wait so long to vote him in. But nonetheless, I mean... it's just an added story that we don't really need, okay, as far as him not going. But nonetheless, it's one that we're going to get. All right. And is it really a big deal that T.O.'s not going to be there? Or is it just a story to write? And there's a difference. Okay? Like, we could have easily just mentioned, oh yeah, T.O. said he's not going to be at the Hall of Fame ceremony. But of course, I think T.O. might be the first one to decline it. I have to double check that. But nonetheless, I guess that's what makes it a story there. But like I said, T.O. just being T.O. And he'll never change. All right, truly. And I'm not sure, like I said, this could be one where T.O. just wants to have his own little party by himself. That's all about him. Or it could just be, you know what, they made me wait long, so you know what, I'm not giving them the benefit of inducting me in. I'm not sure. It could be either or. All right. But nonetheless, okay, now we go back and we draw our conclusion on the Bryan Colangelo story. It has finally reached its end, okay? We've all been following the story. I've been following it pretty closely, just given that I have been entertained every time I look into it, okay? And... the result of it is Colangelo has resigned. Okay. And it seems that after the investigation and all, that Colangelo's wife definitely was behind the burner accounts. Okay? And it seems that Colangelo had no knowledge of these burner accounts. I'm not sure how believable that is. Okay? I'm going to put on my tin hat for a bit here. And there could just be one where it's an embarrassing situation. And the Sixers and Colangelo are basically trying to save face to where this allows Colangelo to... It allows him to find another job in the NBA. Okay? And let me read his statement real quick. Statement from Bryan Colangelo. It reads, "While I am grateful that the independent investigation conducted by the 76ers has confirmed that I had no knowledge of or involvement in the Twitter activity conducted by my wife, I vigorously dispute the allegation that my conduct was in any way reckless. At no point did I ever purposefully or directly share any sensitive, non-public, club-related information with her. Her actions were a seriously misguided effort to publicly defend and support me, and while I recognize how inappropriate these actions were, she acted independently and without my knowledge or consent. Further, the consent she shared was filled with inaccuracies and conjecture which in no way represent my own views or opinions. While this was obviously a mistake, we are a family and we will work through this together. Although I am not directly responsible for the actions, I regret this incident occurred, and I understand that it has become a distraction for the team. Therefore, the organization and I have mutually agreed to part ways. Over the last 2 years, I have worked hard to help build a foundation for what I hope will soon be many championship seasons for the 76ers. I am grateful to team owners Josh Harris and David Blitzer for the opportunity they gave me to be part of such a great organization. I am saddened to have to leave under these circumstances. Last paragraph, basketball has been a core part of my life since childhood. I love the game and all those who play and coach it. I want to thank the many colleagues, players, and friends from around the league and elsewhere who have expressed their support and encouragement during this difficult and painful time for me and my family." So that's the statement there. A few things I got from that statement. One, he threw his wife completely under the bus. Okay. It was all her. I had no clue. Let me see if I could find. Let's see. Oh yeah, basically just talking about the tweets and all that. So it was filled with inaccuracies. Does not represent his views or actions. He is not directly responsible for it. Let's see. Anything else? My favorite part was, I have worked to help build a foundation for what I hope will soon be many championship seasons for the 76ers. You didn't build anything. Okay? You came in and basically, it's like the team project or the class project, all right? You got the class working hard on it or the group working hard on it. It comes to the end. You throw your name on it. Boom. You get the good grade. Sam Hinkie did all the work. Bryan Colangelo comes in, puts his name on it. Now he's got the credit for it. Sam Hinkie built this team. Okay? And we will not forget that. Seems like Sam Hinkie's probably never going to get a job in the NBA once again or ever again. But Sam Hinkie definitely built the Sixers team. Okay? And I'm curious, who gets the job first? Sam Hinkie or Bryan Colangelo? And, I mean, thinking about it, it's probably Colangelo. But, I mean, like I said, he talked about how he never really relayed any team-sensitive information or anything like that directly to his wife. I mean, what is the Jahlil Okafor failed physical and the stuff about Markelle Fultz about? That's all stuff we didn't know about till the tweets came out. Okay? And, I mean, I got to give it to Colangelo. I mean, like I said, he completely just took no responsibility for it. It was my wife. Only reason why I'm resigning is because it makes the team look bad. That's basically the basis of his statement. Okay? And I guess now we've reached the end point of this story. Now we move on. Okay. But I mean, can we really believe that Colangelo did know about these tweets? Okay. Like I said, it just seems one where this is more a statement to save his job security in the NBA, meaning allowing him to get interviews and stuff like that, actually have a chance to get another one. Whereas if he did know about the tweets and all, he doesn't get another job. And I'm curious, okay? I'm kind of connecting dots here. So we had that ringer story by Brian Detrick. He points out that once he asked the 76ers, talking about Detrick, the author of the article, once he asked 76ers about the Twitter accounts, they say that Colangelo was the only one who knew about him. Okay, the only ones asked about him. Then that day, they go put on protected mode. It's either Colangelo told his wife, you know what, you got to cool it with the accounts because they're starting to find out, or he just casually calls his wife, hey, you know, the team just asked me or whatever about some accounts I have no clue about. And she's like, oh, time to put him in protected mode. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much I buy into the fact that Colangelo had no knowledge about this either. Okay. I mean, there's no way, right? He had to have known about it. And I think this, and again, I'm just speculating, this is all allegedly and all, but I think this is one where after the investigation, I'm sure Philly probably found out, you know what, he did know about it and all, but there's a point where you don't want to ruin the guy's career going forward. This way, with him not knowing about it, this allows him to go out and get another job rather than him knowing about it, whereas him knowing about his wife tweeting at Joel Embiid or tweeting about Joel Embiid saying he's not the franchise player and all that would be a problem. Okay? So like I said, we'll never really know for sure whether or not he knew about it. I mean, the investigation says he didn't, but then again, I'm not sure how true that is. All right? So, like I said, we've reached the ending of this saga. And it was by far the most entertaining one to follow all season. This was way better than the Markelle Fultz story, way better than Kawhi. This was better than Mirotic and Bobby Portis. Okay? Both of them who actually had very good seasons this year, I think. Bobby Portis, I think, played well for the Bulls. Mirotic was a big contributor to this playoff team in New Orleans. All right? But nonetheless, now, I mean, if you're the Sixers, you go out and get David Griffin trying to get LeBron there. I think that's the move to make. Or maybe you bring back Hinkie. I'm not sure. All right, but nonetheless, Philly's got a lot of questions to answer as far as this offseason, okay? They got to bring in a superstar, and they got to bring in a new GM, too. And I think free agency starts, beginning of July? So they got to get it going. Plus, you got the draft coming up. Not a great time. Not a great time right now to be a Sixers fan, player, or working at an organization. So we'll see what ends up happening, but nonetheless, I'm going to wrap it up here. Next up, we'll be talking about Julian Edelman getting a 4-game PED suspension, give my thoughts on that. Also talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked Game 3 between Cleveland and Golden State. Golden State won that one, and Steph and Clay combined for 21 points. Yeah, go figure that one out. All right, LeBron had a triple-double. Kevin Love put up 20 and 10. Rodney Hood put up 15. JR put up 13. The Cavs lost. All right. There's no way that team wins Game 4. I'm sorry. I don't see it. All right. Segment 2, we talked about T.O. turning down his Canton invite. I mean, classic T.O., right? Always got to be in the media somehow, some way. And he's got to have like a PR manager or something like that tell him, you know what, this probably isn't a good idea. How about we just stay under the radar? Okay, you go over to the enshrinement ceremony, get inducted, give your speech, and be done with it. But of course, no, T.O.'s got to go and decline it. And I understand maybe possibly why he would have and all, but it's just, do you really want the big story? And maybe he does. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe T.O. just thrives when the cameras are in front of his face. It might just be it. All right. So we talked about that. Third segment, we talked about Bryan Colangelo. That story has reached its end. Okay. And like I said, this is one of the weirder stories in the history of the NBA. Mainly because we didn't have Twitter back then. But nonetheless, he has resigned as Sixers GM. Puts the blame solely on his wife, says he had no clue about it. So she was the one who was thrown under the bus here. All right. But nonetheless, we talked about that for the third segment. Now we talk about anything else going on in sports. And when we say anything else, we mean that. So let's talk about Julian Edelman, okay? Tore his ACL last year, missed the entire season, and has been trying to rehab that in order to get back. Now he's going to miss 4 more games due to a PED violation, okay? He'll be missing games against the Texans, the Jags, the Lions, and the Dolphins, all right? So should we freak out and talk about maybe why this hurts the Patriots? Talk about, are they going to be able to get through this? Or do we just come back to reality and figure that they're going to throw Braxton Berrios out in Julian Edelman's spot and they're going to thrive? Or they're going to make Kenny Britt look like a legitimate red receiver again? Maybe they revive Philip Dorsett's career since it hasn't really been one since he's been drafted. Maybe Chris Hogan goes out and has a breakout first 4 games. Maybe Jordan Matthews comes out and plays like he used to in Philly back when he was good. Maybe Malcolm Mitchell, the guy they've been waiting for, comes out and plays well. Maybe you got Cordell Patterson who comes out and plays well. I'm not sure. Okay. Do I think that this Julian Edelman suspension is going to hurt the team? Of course not. Why would it hurt the team? All right. Tom Brady got suspended for 4 games and nothing happened. They went to the Super Bowl. Okay. If Tom Brady could get suspended for 4 games and that not have any effect whatsoever on their season, then I am not even breaking a sweat about Edelman not being there for New England. Okay? Literally, it doesn't matter. People are going to try and turn this, it's going to be tough. New England's going to be without Edelman for the first 4 games. Yeah, they were without him for an entire season last year and they made the Super Bowl. Okay? Edelman being gone for 4 games means nothing. All right. So, I mean, there's no real story here. I mean, I guess there is a story, and that's just that Edelman tested positive for PEDs. I wonder how he got those. Very much wonder. DB12 center? No, I'm just playing. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, it doesn't affect the Patriots in any way here. Okay? All they got to do is throw Jordan Matthews out there, or even Kenny Britt, okay? Or even if they want, Braxton Berrios. Plus, you got Kevin Hogan, who I think is a very good receiver. And let's not forget that the greatest tight end of all time plays for the Patriots, at least in my opinion, okay? Rob Gronkowski. They're going to be just fine, okay? They're going to be just fine. This doesn't make a difference whatsoever. This does not affect the wins or losses aspect of their game. Like I said, Edelman missed a whole season last year, and it didn't matter because they still went to the Super Bowl. All right, if anything, we're going to see some guy fill in for Edelman and just have a breakout type of year. All right, so I'm not worried about the Patriots. I mean, like I said, Tom Brady gets suspended for 4 games and they still make the Super Bowl that year. You really think that Edelman being out for 4 games is going to make a difference? It's going to matter? Of course, you're going to have Belichick and Brady. Well, not Belichick, probably Brady go out and say, yeah, it's tough, but we're going to try and make do. Brady doesn't even care that Edelman's gone. Okay? When they get back, they get back. I'm sure that's Belichick's mindset. All right, well, we'll see you week 5. All right? So, yeah, it's not even a story about Edelman. I mean, I guess the story, like I said, is just him failing a PED test. But as far as how this affects the Patriots season and all, we know the answer to that. I mean, don't let that story become big, please. All right. And nonetheless, we got Tom Brady back at minicamp. He's coming. It's a mandatory minicamp. Said that he missed OTAs because of personal reasons, not because of the coach. I don't know. Can personal reasons with your coach be just accounted as personal reasons? All right. Brady and Belichick, I don't think necessarily like each other. Like I said, that's not even a real story anymore either because, I mean, it just doesn't even matter. It doesn't affect whether or not they win or lose. All right. And this team, it's ridiculous. I'm not a Patriots fan, but it is ridiculous how, like, problem after problem will come up. They'll just sweep it under the rug and act like nothing happened, and they'll be fine. All right. Brady gets suspended for 4 games. Throw Garoppolo and Brissett out there. Boom. We're fine. Okay. Brady and Belichick got tension. Make the Super Bowl. Boom. They're fine. All right. Get caught for Spygate? Who cares? Win more Super Bowls. I mean, it's ridiculous. This team catches break after break after break. All right. Well, like I said, I mean, players to watch for now for the Patriots, I guess, are like Braxton Berrios, like I said, Jordan Matthews, and Chris Hogan. Those are the 3 guys I'm going to be looking for. Braxton Berrios, I think he was a very good receiver with Miami. I think he's perfect for this Patriots system, where he's just the guy who's going to be running the short routes, and Tom Brady's going to feed him the ball every time like it's clockwork. All right. Jordan Matthews is that one where he hasn't really looked too good over the last couple of years. All right, I think he was with Buffalo last season, I think. And that obviously didn't work. Now he's over in New England. This is going to be one where it's, oh, Jordan Matthews, that guy, yeah, he hasn't really done much over the last couple of years. Oh, wait, Jordan Matthews having a career year? It's going to be one of those years for him, I think. Because Jordan Matthews does have talent, without a doubt. It's just maybe he needed a little push into the right system, and the Patriots could be that right system. All right. So as far as it all goes down, like I said, there's nothing to be talked about here. It's just a guy who failed his PED test. As far as how it affects the Patriots, it doesn't. Okay. So tonight we got Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas versus Washington. Okay. Washington never won a cup before, I believe. Vegas, obviously, this is their first season. Washington's currently up 3-1. Do they pull it off tonight? I'm not necessarily sure. Okay. Vegas looked good in Game 1. Since then, Washington has basically just taken all control of this series and not looked back. You'd figure, given how well Washington has played the last 3 games, that they could pull it out, Game 5 in Vegas. But I'm going to say that Vegas ends up pulling one out for the home crowd tonight, and Washington ends up winning it at home. And I also saw, too, a stat, I believe, that Washington is one of the worst teams when up 3-1 in the playoffs. Okay? So I'm going to go and stick with my pick as far as Washington winning the cup, but I am all for a classic Washington, D.C. sports collapse. Okay? I mean, that would be the icing on top for this season. Okay. And let me see if I can find their true record. Washington up 3-1 in the playoffs. Let's see. Washington. Let me see. Stanley Cup teams that go up 3-1 in the finals are 32-1 when winning it. All right. 131 in a row. I'm trying to find the record, though, because Washington is just a bad 3-1 team. Okay. Let me see. They've lost 5 series when up 3-1, which is the most in the NHL. Okay. They've done it twice. I think they did it, 2010, 2011, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so once to the Canadians in 2010, once to the Rangers 2005. And I think that's it right there. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be one where Washington ends up pulling it out. I don't think they're going to be doing that classic DC sports collapse here. All right, I think they'll be very fine. So we'll see what ends up happening. Like I said, game's on tonight. I think the game's on at got to be around 5 o'clock, I believe. All right. It's usually been the start of the game, 5:30, somewhere around there. But nonetheless, we'll see if Ovechkin can finally get his cup. And yeah, it's at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So we'll see if Ovechkin's able to pick up his first Stanley Cup win. And I think it's long overdue, so we'll see. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Today we talked about Game 3 between Cleveland and Golden State. That series is over. We talked about T.O. declining his invitation to the Enshrinement ceremony in Canton. Talked about Bryan Colangelo resigning. And then for this segment, we talked about the Stanley Cup Final and Julian Edelman getting busted 4 games for PED suspension. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. I will be back tomorrow to talk to you guys, so stay tuned till then. And like I said, I will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.